everyone, gonna do another narration video just to possibly help you guys out, and it kind of helps me out also. So before we get started, as always, gonna check out the morning plan, see what we had going on. So we had possible buy stops above. We were pushing lower overnight or before the market opened, so it wasn't really this whole plan. It makes sense, but I was expecting something else and it kind of didn't do that. So I said, as we open lower our range, lower out of range means we just open below prior value area and prior low a day. So open lower our range, we have a good chance of continuing lower towards 5870 micro composite point of control. We also have the 82% chance of rallying to overnight point of control and 67% chance of reach prior low a day. So we can expect buyers to initiate at the open towards our stat levels, or we can expect prices to continue lower for a gap and go scenario. Extra, we are pushing into 5870 before the open, so my focus is to watch who takes control at the open in an attempt to align myself with the current trend. We can look here. And before we look here, I'll just do this over here. So this is the open, we are moving lower. Let me fix all this real fast. So if we look over here on the profile, we have a area that dips in on this volume profile chart. This is a low volume node. On a higher time frame, low volume nodes could be areas of support or resistance. They're not hard walls, they're just weak structure. So we were looking for prices to continue lower or for buyers to initiate at the open. I didn't actually have this marked when I was looking at the chart at the open. I saw this after we hit it, and in hindsight, but in hindsight it makes sense. We found support here at the low volume node, and they found this as too low. So where's too high? Well, previously this was too low, but as we got below it, it became too high. So our next area we could return to is here. And this was all before the open. I don't like to trade before the open. And we just have our high volume nodes. We also have a low volume node here, you could see, but we weren't too interested in that. So we can go through our commentary and see what we were thinking so far. So we reached overnight point of control at the open. I missed this possible short, which wasn't really a miss. It was just I wasn't here to see this. I was taking a shower, but that was potential. But we can think about it. If there's shorts getting in here, buyers getting stopped, where are these shorts going to put their stop? I would put my stop above the high. So we can continue lower. Lots of retail getting short at prior low a day, which could lead them to putting stops above 5894. Like I said, if these are taken out, possible move to prior point of control. And then I took a long here as we were moving above and pushing out of the consolidation for 5895. And this is actually wrong. I had mine at 5912, but it was actually 5920, so I need to figure that out. So we'll go into the charts and we'll start narrating. So what do we have? We have overnight point of control right here. We can put that. We'll make it purple so it doesn't get lost. Ooh. So we have overnight point of control. We are below overnight point of control. We are above this microcomposite high volume node. Above this microcomposite high volume node at the moment. So we can see the market opens. We push up, not much, too high, push low, back to the opening point of control. This is possibly too low, so we can mark this little consolidation area and move forward. My trades at the open were not the best. I was kind of frazzled. I don't know what you want to say. I wasn't really in the mindset to be taking trades. But we continue moving. We found support down here. Point of control shifts higher. And we were really just in balance at this moment. We were just balancing between overnight point of control and microcomposite high volume node, or 5883, this whole area. we continue. We push into overnight point of control. We have a bouncing fractal, so we can go in here and put a box. We can make that a little smaller. Bouncing fractal. Point of control is still here, so as we moved higher, we can do what we did yesterday. We'll just do this. So as we had a consolidation here, we move high, test it. What are we testing? Well, this was previous resistance. Resistance turns to support. So as we do that, now we're testing here. We're possibly going to move higher, but we're finding buyers at 490 delta, 488 delta. These buyers aren't able to continue pushing it higher. So as we are chopping in this area, we chop, chop, chop. We break low. Okay, change of structure. And we continue. Overnight point control is still here. Prior low a day is here also. So we have a bunch of levels here which could act as resistance. We move towards point of control. We get to it. It acts as support. Then we break low. We break low and support turns to resistance. It sounds monotonous and it goes over and over, but it's just how trading works. It's boring. But we move lower, test this previous area of support, this fractal that we saw, and this opening point of control. We test it, move back. Where do we move to? Point of control. Point of control acts as resistance. So we go break below this. We'll put a line here, just in case. That was an area that acted as support, and it could act as resistance or support if we get back above it. So we can continue. Like I said, prior point, or this point of control back here, acted as resistance, or no, acted as support, got below it, came back to it. Acted as resistance for a second, but as we got above it, sellers stepped in. Sellers possibly got trapped, because where are your stops going to be? Well, if you're getting short here, stops have to be up here somewhere. So we could have sellers defending this area. On the move up, we move back into this prior point of control area. We're chopping now between point of control and prior point of control. And I like to have it, if we break out of a fractal, I like to mark the first area of consolidation. So nothing really here. We do have this, but there's no real actual consolidation. But we do come back to it, break above this point of control. Now we have this little fractal here, which could act as support. I don't know when I took my trades, but they're not the best. So as we continue, where do we go to? Well, we had an area up here that was too high. Sellers got in and they were defending this area. Buyers attempted, but they failed. And then when we come back to it, buyers attempt again and they fail. 310 delta. These buyers are becoming trapped. But what does this tell us? Well, this is telling us there's a passive seller sitting in this area defending prior low a day and overnight point of control, plus overnight mid. And this was just chop, chop, chop. I wasn't able to really think about what to do. Oh yeah, here I did go short and I did go long. You see I keep my loss real tight, so not really a big loss or anything. But why did I go long here? Well, I was expecting a pullback to this area of support to be defended. Well, you know, market doesn't always work how we want. We tested it, a little move. I'm like, oh yeah, this is nice. I'm feeling happy. And then I'm not happy. I'm out. So I thought, okay, well, if we're finding sellers up here, buyers are becoming trapped. We're below point of control. And we have a lower out of range scenario. We could possibly continue lower towards 5859 low volume node. I was mistaken. So we continue. We get above. At this point, I think I'll walk away. I go get some water. I go take a second to breathe, see what's happening, and I come back. We can see this area right here continues to act as support. And we can see we're bouncing in this area. This is just the area that we're in. This whole area right here. And as we continue, we have this prior point of control acting as support on each test. We have this fractal acting as support. So our new range is just in here. Continue chopping around point of control. And I was saying earlier, if you're getting short here, where is your stop? Well, if I'm getting short here, my stop's going to be up here somewhere. Maybe up here, you know, who knows? But my stop's going to be above my entry. Because I'm getting short, I'm looking for lower prices. I considered shorting here, but like, where's your range? If you're getting short here somewhere, let's say here, you got 3 points to point of control, and then 8 points, I guess, 2 down here, which you could have got if you're looking for 2 to 1, but I'm looking for bigger swings. So we get above this area, we can look at it, we move low, we come back, chop, 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 we retest this area of consolidation, break low, come back, we break high, and form new chop. So we can do this. We don't ever come back and test this, I don't believe, but we come back, form, hit this chop, overnight point of control. We're now above overnight point of control. We're above prior low of day. So we're inside yesterday's range. If we're inside yesterday's range, what did I say in the Discord? We have a... Did I say it in the Discord? I don't think I did, actually. Okay. Well, on here, we have prior point of control. We have a 30% chance of reaching prior point of control. So if we get back inside yesterday's range, prior low day, get back above this, we have 66% of hitting overnight mid, 48.4 chance prior value low. And these are just stats. These aren't hard numbers. We don't trade based off just of this, but these are areas of targets. So prior point of control, 5,920, 30% chance. If we fail to move lower, if we continue to fail down here, moving lower, we had all this negative delta. What do you think we're gonna go down and hit IB low, take out IB low and low volume node, microposit? I don't really think so. I think we want to return back to prior value and see what happens. So as we can see now, this whole area is chop, chop, chop. This is a fractal. This whole area now is a fractal. We break out of the fractal. When we break out of fractals, what do I like to do? I like to look for the first area of chop. So this was still in the fractal. So we break out of the fractal. Do that. We break out of the fractal. Find our first area of chop. We have a decent amount of buying delta. And it's not looking like it's slowing down. So, first chop. Place my buy box. Right here we have this possible resistance. You can see it comes from back here. This area. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay. So I got long here. And I guess I closed it for 1 point. Not sure why I did that. Trying to be as transparent as possible with you guys. But did that. There's nothing there for us to see. I got my first target at this area of resistance, plus 6 points. So I was risking about 3 points to make 7 or 6, whatever you want to see it as. So 2 to 1 for me is what I'm going for. We move above this. I take off 1 for 9 points. And we continue. We can go do our narration. Get all that off here so it's not distracting. We have a fractal. Fractal. We chop, chop, chop. Break high. Oh, I do have this now. Break high. Break low. And now what do we have here? Well, I would say this is a new fractal. So we can kind of just actually draw this up. So this whole area is a fractal. We move high. What was resistance now acts as support. We also have mid, but this wasn't mid at the moment. And at 9:30 right here, we have 9:30, which would put in the IB stat. So we either have a chance of IB continuation, so we move above IB, retest it, and continue, or we could move above IB high, fail, and then move back to retail, move back to the grocery store. So we found support at previous resistance here, and this is just trade management now. What are we doing? Well, we're moving higher. We break above this fractal. What do we have? We have a new fractal. What was resistance is now support. Chop, chop, chop. Break high. Break high. Oh, I guess it changed everything. Oh well, it's harder to see now. Use the arrow. We break high, retest. What was resistance turns into support. What do we have here? Negative 338 delta. Above 300, I consider it higher than average. So, we're continuing. Structure is still intact, and we're still moving. What do we have here? I would say this is a new fractal. Continue. What was resistance? With all these buyers attempting to get above prior settlement is wrong, but get above prior value low into prior close. So all these buyers are attempting. They're not really getting anywhere. Why? Well, we have a possible passive seller sitting here, just eating all these orders. They're eating all the orders coming in. They're not really getting anywhere. Let me zoom in. Maybe that's make it easier for you guys to see. They keep pushing. When they keep pushing, they keep getting rejected. But what do we see? What was resistance acts as support. So as this acts as support, the structure is still intact. We're still making higher lows. This is a fractal. We're now above prior close. We have to look back. Where was our fractal at? Well, this looks like a fractal, because this was a fractal. What was resistance act as support. What was resistance act as support. So we get above this. Chop, chop, chop. Break high. Retest. Same thing over and over. What was resistance acts as support. We can see a decent amount of selling here. Let's look at the delta. So we can see delta got to around negative 210. So sellers aren't really putting a lot of effort in anymore. Buyers are kind of in control, we could say. There's not more buyers, they're just in control at that moment. 5930. Oh yeah, when I was doing my trade, I was attempting to create a custom study. So I did get distracted, I guess, but I was working on something. Show fills. And my target was naked point of control. Yesterday's point of control, which we can see right here. This was the highest price level, highest volume at this price level yesterday. And when we left it, we would like to see that area be retested, because at this time, this was deemed fair. This was deemed reasonable. We got below it, moved to an area of low volume. We have to come back and check it. So prices here, we're looking at eggs. We're like, okay, this is understandable. But let's go down the store. Let's go down the road and see if there's anyone cheaper. We found some good prices, but let's go check that store again and see how we feel about those prices. So we go back and check the store. We're almost current now. So that was my target. Yeah, I probably left some money on the table because I could have gained probably 25 points or more. Who knows? But this is my target. All out. We got it. I like to put my target a little bit below, so I looked at prior close instead of prior point of control, because there could be sellers sitting up here looking for prices to return and for them to project. But structure's still intact. I usually haven't been going for runners, so also that. And now we're now current, 1047. We can continue to narrate. This was a fractal. What was resistance is now support. We chop, 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 retest, break high. New fractal here. Chop, chop, chop. My bad. Chop, chop, chop. Retest, break high. Chop, chop, chop. Break low, retest, what was resistance, act as support. And it's just that over and over and over. This might be too much for some people, but this is what I find is helped me read the market. I don't have any indicators really. Only thing I ever use is looking at volume profiles right here, right here. This is just a 25 price change chart, so every 25 price movements it makes a new little candle. We also have market depth, which is I find useful, but I kind of ignore it because this is just algo. Algo is just sitting here, so I have this one instead where I get rid of the algo. And we have some prices sitting up here, some limit orders. Prior point of control, so we're above prior point of control, we're above 5-day point of control, we're above prior very high. What is going to happen now? I'm not sure. But we can do this. So what was resistance right here is now support, and we're seeing it act as support. I don't have any trades because I took my long from down here. I took my long from this break, 5896, up to here, so I'm happy with that. We can see there's more limit orders. If you guys find these useful, please let me know in the comments. Leave some love, leave some likes. And yeah, we had our commentary, we had our morning plan. There wasn't much today. It was kind of just directional trade management, and posting all this in here is not the best. But yeah, I think that's really everything. If you guys enjoyed, I hope you have a great day, and see you in the next one.